The rain hammered against the windshield like accusations I couldn't ignore. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, as I stared at the glowing dashboard clock, 1:15 a.m. My shift at SecureNet Compliance had run late again, debugging another endless stream of data breaches. All I wanted was to swing by the old family home in suburban Atlanta, grab a few forgotten boxes from my college days, law textbooks, a quilt from Nana, maybe that old leather journal, and head back to my apartment. Simple. Harmless. But nothing with my stepfather, Victor, was ever simple. He was lurking in the kitchen when I slipped in through the back door, the air thick with the stale bite of whiskey and desperation. Papers cluttered the Formica table like a confession waiting to happen. Mom hovered nearby, her fingers twisting the hem of her faded cardigan, eyes darting between us. "Emily. Honey," she started, her voice a fragile whisper. "We need to talk." "I'm just here for my stuff," I said, keeping my tone even, my keys jingling in my pocket like a getaway plan. Victor didn't look up at first, just grunted and shoved a document toward me. It was from Peachtree Financial, a loan application for $15,000, with my name listed as co-signer. "Sign it," he barked, his voice gravelly from too many late nights and bad choices. "Truck needs fixing, and your mom's medical bills ain't paying themselves." I scanned the page, my compliance training kicking in automatically. The numbers didn't add up, the income listed for me was inflated, and there were red flags everywhere. "No," I said flatly. The word hung in the air like a challenge. Victor's head snapped up, his bloodshot eyes narrowing. "What did you say?" I said no. "I'm not signing anything." Mom's face crumpled, but she stayed silent. Victor rose slowly, his chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. He was a big man, built from years of warehouse work, and he loomed over me. "After all we've done for you, roof over your head, food on the table when your real dad bailed, ungrateful little." His hand clamped down on my arm, fingers digging in like vices. Pain shot through me, hot and sharp. "Let go," I hissed, trying to yank free. But he tightened his grip, shoving me toward the table. "Sign it, Emily. For your mother." Mom murmured something about family sticking together, but her words blurred as adrenaline surged. I twisted away, but his shove caught me off guard. My shoulder slammed into the cabinet edge, sending a jolt up my spine. The world tilted for a second, and I tasted blood from biting my tongue. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just another argument. This was assault. My mind raced, document everything. Always. I fumbled for my phone, hitting record just as he lunged again. "You'll sign, or I'll make you," he growled, his breath reeking. I dodged, grabbing my keys from the floor where they'd fallen, and bolted for the door. The rain soaked me instantly as I sprinted to my car, his footsteps thundering behind. I slammed the door and locked it seconds before his fists pounded the window, rain smearing his furious face. "Get back here." In the rear view, Mom stood on the porch, illuminated by the porch light, her arms wrapped around herself, doing nothing. I peeled out, heart pounding, driving aimlessly until I found a lit-up gas station lot. Hands shaking, I dialed 911. "I need to report an assault," I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. "My stepfather attacked me when I refused to co-sign a loan." The dispatcher was calm, professional. "Are you safe now? Location?" I gave her the details, then headed to Emory Hospital's ER, the pain in my shoulder blooming like a bruise I couldn't ignore. The waiting room was a haze of fluorescent lights and quiet suffering, a kid with a fever, an old man coughing. The nurse assessed me quickly. "Looks like grab marks." "Domestic?" I nodded. "Pressing charges?" Yes. Hours later, with x-rays showing soft tissue damage and photos taken for evidence, Officer Diaz arrived. She was mid-30s, with a no-nonsense ponytail and eyes that had seen too much. I played the recording, Victor's threats booming from my phone. She nodded, jotting notes. History of this? I hesitated. Not physical, but financial stuff. Loans in my name I didn't know about. Forged signatures. Maybe. Her pen paused. That's serious. Fraud doesn't care about family ties. She was right. But the word family twisted in my gut. Mom had always begged me to let it slide. The surprise credit card bills. The mix-ups with utilities. I'd ignored the signs, chalking it up to Victor's laziness. But now? I'll press charges for the assault, I said. And look into the rest. Diaz gave me resources, a shelter hotline, fraud reporting tips. Stay somewhere safe tonight. I crashed at my friend Sarah's place. Her spare room a sanctuary of clean sheets and no expectations. She brewed chamomile tea. Listened without judgment. This is messed up. Eminencia. But you're doing the right thing. I stared at the ceiling. The ache in my shoulder a constant reminder. Tomorrow, I'd pull my credit reports, dig into the mess. But deep down, I feared what I'd find, and who else might be involved. The next morning, Sarah drove me to Peachtree Financial. The lobby smelled of fresh coffee and polished ambition, a far cry from the chaos of last night. The fraud specialist, Mr. Hayes, was crisp in his suit, his office a shrine to organization. Let's pull your records, he said after I explained. His fingers danced over the keyboard, then froze. There's a loan here from 2 months ago. You co-signed for Victor Hayes, no relation. My stomach nodded. That's my stepfather. I didn't sign anything. He printed the document, and there it was, my signature, or something like it. But the loops were wrong. The slant off. This is forged, I whispered. Sarah leaned in. Compare it to her driver's license. The differences screamed at us. Hayes nodded grimly. We'll flag it. But there are more, 3 in the last year, totaling $25,000. The number hit like a punch. Mail had gone to Mom's address, where she could hide it. She knew, I realized, the betrayal sinking in. Hayes advised freezing my credit, filing police reports. By afternoon, calls to other banks revealed more, a maxed-out store card, a phone plan with extras I never used. The tally climbed to $40,000. Sarah kept notes, her face hardening. We need evidence from the house. Victor's at work. Mom's at her book club, I said. I have a key. It felt risky, but necessary. The house was eerily quiet under the midday sun. Inside, I beelined to the attic where my old stuff was stored. But in Mom's desk drawer, folders labeled with my name, old tax forms, but also fresh loan apps with forged signatures, stacks of unopened mail addressed to me. My hands trembled as I photographed everything. This wasn't just Victor. Mom's handwriting on notes, her signatures as witness. We slipped out unnoticed, but the weight of it crushed me. Back at Sarah's, I called Diaz. I have proof of fraud. And my mom. She's part of it. The silence on the line stretched. Bring it in. This just got bigger. The precinct smelled of burnt coffee and urgency. Fluorescent lights buzzing like the thoughts in my head. Officer Diaz met us in a cramped interview room, her notebook ready. I spread out the photos and documents on the table, forged loans, hidden mail, even a notepad with Mom's scribbles calculating interest rates. This shows they both knew, I said, my voice cracking on the word both. Diaz examined them closely, her expression shifting from professional to concerned. This looks like a pattern. Identity theft. Fraud, federal if it crosses lines. She paused, meeting my eyes. You sure about pursuing this? Against your own mother? The question hung heavy. Mom's face flashed in my mind. The woman who'd bandaged my knees as a kid. Who'd cried at my graduation. But also the one who'd stood by while Victor hurt me. I'm sure. Family doesn't mean getting away with crime. She nodded. We'll get a detective on it. In the meantime, protective order against Victor. As we left, my phone buzzed, Mom. Emily, please come home. Victor's sorry. It was a misunderstanding. I deleted it. But the guilt gnawed. Sarah squeezed my arm. You're not the villain here. Days blurred into a frenzy of paperwork. I froze my credit with Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, each call a step toward reclaiming control. The fraud alerts pinged more discoveries. A home equity line on a property I didn't own, tied to Mom's address. The total debt? Pushing $55,000. At night, nightmares replayed the assault, but now with Mom's voice echoing. Just sign. Honey. Detective Harlan took over. A grizzled vet with a soft spot for domestic cases. We met at a diner. Steam rising from our coffees. Your evidence is solid, he said. Forgeries are amateur, copied from old docs. But we found something else. He slid over printouts, bank records showing transfers from the fraudulent accounts to Victor's business. A failing auto repair shop. And Mom's name on joint accounts. She wasn't just aware. She benefited. The revelation hit like ice water. How far back? At least 3 years. And it's not just you. Harlan leaned in. We've linked similar fraud to other families. Victor targets widows through church groups. Your mom introduced him. My world tilted. Mom. The pious volunteer. Scouting victims? We need your testimony to build the case. I agreed. But the emotional toll mounted. Therapy sessions with Dr. Ellis became lifelines. Betrayal by a parent cuts deep, she said. It's okay to grieve the mom you thought you had. Sarah dragged me to yoga, forced me to eat, reminded me I wasn't alone. But isolation crept in, friends distanced themselves, whispering about family drama. Then came the arrest. I watched from Sarah's car across the street as cops swarmed the house. Victor in cuffs, bellowing curses. Mom, pale and handcuffed, glancing around like she expected rescue. The news hit local channels. Atlanta couple charged in identity theft ring. My name stayed out. But the stress triggered migraines. Sleepless nights. Preliminary hearings were a circus. Victor's lawyer painted me as vindictive. A disgruntled daughter. But the evidence spoke louder. Recordings. Medical reports. Forged docs. Mom avoided my gaze in court. Her lawyer pleading for house arrest. She's a first-time offender. The judge denied it. Bail was set high. They stayed locked up. As months dragged, more victims surfaced. A woman named Lisa, whose son's credit was ruined after Mom befriended her at bingo. She seemed so kind, Lisa told me over coffee. We formed a support group, sharing stories that mirrored mine. Manipulation masked as love. It fueled me, turned pain into purpose. But Victor fought dirty. From jail. He sent letters, threats veiled as apologies. You'll regret this. Harlan traced them, adding witness intimidation charges. Then, one night, my apartment window shattered, a brick with snitch scrawled on it. I moved in with Sarah permanently. Installed security cams. They're desperate, Harlan said. Means we're winning. The trial loomed like a storm. Prosecutors built a conspiracy case. Victor the mastermind. Mom the enabler. I prepped endlessly, reliving every detail. The night before opening statements, Sarah held me as I sobbed. What if the jury sees me as the bad guy? They'll see the truth, she whispered. You're brave. Courtroom air was thick with tension. The DA, Ms. Reyes, opened strong. This isn't just theft. It's betrayal of the deepest trust. Victor sneered from the defense table. Mom looked frail, eyes downcast. My testimony came first. Under oath, I recounted the assault, the discoveries. I loved my mom, I said, voice steady. But love doesn't excuse crime. Cross-exam. Isn't this revenge for a bad relationship? The lawyer probed. No, I fired back. It's justice. The jury watched. Some nodding. Evidence piled up. Forensics confirming forgeries. Bank trails. Victim statements. Victor took the stand, denying everything. Family helps family, but his arrogance cracked under questioning. Mom's turn shattered me. She admitted bits, hiding mail, introducing women, but blamed Victor. He made me, Reyes pressed. You chose him over your daughter. Mom's tears flowed, but they felt hollow. The jury deliberated 2 days. Guilty on all counts: fraud, assault, conspiracy. Sentencing. Victor got 20 years. You preyed on vulnerability, the judge thundered. Mom. 10 years. Mothers protect, not exploit. As they were led away, Mom mouthed sorry. I turned away. The victory bittersweet. Freedom tasted strange after the trial, like air after drowning, but laced with loss. The house I'd grown up in was seized. Assets liquidated for restitution. My share trickled in, enough to clear debts. Start fresh. But the emotional wreckage? That took work. Dr. Ellis helped unpack the guilt. It didn't break your family. Their choices did. Sarah became my rock. Our friendship evolving into something deeper, chosen family without strings. We rented a cozy duplex in Decatur, filled it with plants and laughter. SecureNet promoted me to senior analyst, valuing my real-world expertise in fraud detection. I channeled it into training sessions, teaching colleagues red flags I'd lived. But echoes lingered. Anonymous calls at night, hang-ups, heavy breathing. Harlan assured me Victor's network was dismantled, but paranoia stuck. I joined self-defense classes, learned to spot tails. One evening, walking home, I sensed eyes on me. Turned out to be a reporter. Ms. Carter. Care to comment on the appeal? Victor was fighting, claiming ineffective counsel. It dragged on, but the courts upheld. More victims reached out. A young man, Cull, whose grandma lost her savings after meeting Mom at church. How do you move on? He asked over Zoom. One day at a time. Document. Report. Heal. Our support group grew online. A safe space for sharing without judgment. I moderated, drawing from my compliance skills to guide on affidavits, credit repairs. Then came the bombshell, FBI involvement. Agent Torres contacted me. The case had interstate links. Victor had accomplices in Florida, Tennessee. Your evidence cracked it open. Testifying in federal court was grueling, reliving the betrayal before strangers. But it exposed a wider ring, over 30 families, $1.5 million stolen. Headlines screamed, "Family Fraud Empire Falls." Mom wrote from prison. I see now what I did. Forgive me. I didn't respond. Forgiveness felt distant. A bridge burned. Instead, I focused on impact. Restitution checks arrived. Mine went partly to therapy funds for victims. With Sarah's help, I launched Safeguard Network, a nonprofit app for tracking family finances suspiciously, alerting users to anomalies. Life normalized, but scars showed. Dating was tough. Trust issues flared. A guy named Alex seemed genuine, but when he asked about my past, I froze. It's heavy, I admitted. He stayed. Patient. Our first real date. Picnic in Piedmont Park. Sharing stories under oaks. You're a survivor, he said. It warmed me. A spark of hope. Victor's appeal failed. Extra charges for the brick incident added years. Mom's health declined. Letters from her chaplain mentioned regret. Illness. I visited once. Against advice. The prison's sterile visiting room chilled me. She looked aged. Remorse in her eyes. Emily. I was weak. You chose weakness over me, I said softly. No hugs. No promises. Closure. Maybe. Back home. Sarah proposed expanding safeguard, workshops, hotlines. We partnered with banks, law enforcement. At our first event, a room full of faces like mine, wary, hopeful. I spoke. Betrayal hurts deepest from those we love. But speaking up saves lives. Applause rippled. Healing in the sound. A year post-trial. I stood at Nana's grave, quilt in hand. Wish you were here, I whispered. Her legacy, unconditional love, inspired me. That night, Alex cooked dinner, Sarah joined. Our trio unbreakable. Laughter filled the air, drowning old ghosts. But shadows crept back. A tip from Torres. Victor had prison contacts. Vague threats. I bolstered security. But fear lingered. One stormy night, like the first, my phone rang unknown. Watch your back, a voice rasped. Heart racing. I called Harlan. We'll trace it. The investigation revealed a loose end. Victor's old partner. Evading capture. Stakes rose. I testified again. Nailing him. Relief washed over. But vigilance stayed. Safeguard boomed, helping hundreds. Media dubbed me the fraud fighter. Interviews focused on empowerment, not pity. Personal growth bloomed. Alex and I traveled beach in Florida, escaping Atlanta's humidity. Trust built slowly, like mending a fence. I'm proud, he said, watching waves. I believed him. Mom's release loomed distant. I set boundaries, no contact. Her choices defined her path. Mine? Freedom. Purpose. The assault scar faded. A reminder of strength forged in fire. 2 years in. Life had rhythm, work. Safeguard. Alex. But echoes persisted. A new victim. Maria. Share her story. Stepdad forging docs. Mom complicit. How did you know when to fight? When silence hurt more than truth, I replied. Mentoring became therapy, turning pain outward. Federal payouts boosted Safeguard. We hired staff. Opened an office in Midtown. Workshops packed. Spotting family fraud drew crowds. One attendee, an elderly man, teared up, saved my grandson. Impact rippled. Laws proposed for stricter family theft penalties. Personal milestones. Alex proposed under stars at Stone Mountain. Yes, I whispered. Ring symbolizing chosen bonds. Wedding small, Sarah as maid of honor. No blood family. Vows echoed commitment without exploitation. Victor's prison letters stopped. Rumors of his decline. Mom's chaplain called. She's changed. Seeks amends. I decline visits. But send a note. Heal yourself first. Closure on my terms. A bombshell case. High-profile exec exposed for similar fraud. Safeguard consulted. My testimony key. National news spotlighted us. From victim to vigilante. Overwhelming. But empowering. Alex grounded me. You're changing the world. Challenges arose. Burnout from endless stories. Dr. Ellis advised balance. Hikes. Date nights. Sarah, now partner in Safeguard. Shared load. Our team grew, diverse, united by purpose. 3 years post-assault. I keynote a conference in D.C. Family isn't immunity, I declared. Applause thundered. Legislators approached for input. Back home, Alex surprised with adoption papers for a rescue dog, symbolizing new starts. Mom paroled early for good behavior. She reached out via lawyer, meeting request. After deliberation, I agreed neutral ground, coffee shop. She arrived frail, eyes hopeful. Emily, I've learned. We talked hours, her regrets. Prison therapy. No excuses. Genuine remorse. I can't erase it, she said. But I want to make amends. I listened, but boundaries held. From afar. Earned trust slowly. A tentative step. Not full reconciliation. Victor's death in prison. Heart attack. Closed a chapter. No grief. Just finality. Assets released fully. I donated to victims' funds. Safeguard expanded nationally. App download soared. Personal joy. Pregnancy announcement. Our family, Alex beamed. Sarah, auntie-in-chief. Reflecting. The journey from that rainy night to here, assault to advocacy, taught resilience. Betrayal forged strength. Love redefined as choice. Not blood. For years on, our daughter Lily's laughter filled the house, a sound of pure trust. Parenthood shifted perspectives, protecting her fiercely, teaching boundaries early. Safeguard thrived. Lobbying success, new laws passed, mandating family fraud education in schools. Mom rebuilt quietly, volunteering at shelters, sharing her story anonymously. We met sporadically, guarded coffees evolving to cautious dinners. Forgiveness? Partial. Earned through actions. I'm proud of you, she said once. Tears genuine. Healing in fragments. Victor's shadow faded, his ring dismantled fully. No more threats. Only legacy of caution. At Safeguard's anniversary gala, I spoke. We turn victims into victors. Toasts raised. But I paused, remembering the kitchen shove. The betrayal sting. It fueled us. Life's tapestry. Alex's support. Sarah's friendship. Lily's innocence. Family chosen. Bonds unbreakable. The story doesn't end. It evolves. Each helped victim reminds. Speak up. Reclaim power. Love shouldn't bruise or bankrupt. In that truth, freedom lies. What lingers? A question. How do we love without losing ourselves? The answer unfolds daily. In choices that honor worth.